Exercises. Question 1. Fill in the blanks. 1. The loss of water from the plants is known as dash. The answer is the loss of water from the plants is known as transpiration. 2. Nervous system is absent in dash. The answer is nervous system is absent in plants. 3. Response to the stimulus of touch is called dash, whereas response to the stimulus of chemicals is called as dash. The answer is response to the stimulus of touch is called seismonatic response, whereas response to the stimulus of chemicals is called as chemotropism. 4. Brain is the main dash center of the body. The answer is brain is the main coordination center of the body. Question 2. Name the following. 1. Growth of plant in response to external factors. Answer. Tropism or tropic movement. 2. Maintenance of steady state by different systems in an organism. The answer is homeostasis. 3. Cells that assist the neurons in their function. The answer is neuralgia. 4. The small gap between the consecutive neurons. The answer is synapse. 5. Part of the brain that coordinates the voluntary movements. The answer is the forebrain or cerebrum. Question 3. Give scientific reasons. First, roots of plants grow away from light. Answer. 1. Roots of plants exhibit gravitropism and hydrotropism. 2. They grow towards soil and water as their function is to anchor the plant and absorb minerals and salts for growth. Therefore, they do not show phototropic movements. Hence, they grow away from light. Second, hormones secreted by the endocrine glands are present everywhere in the body. Answer. The hormones are secreted into the blood by the endocrine glands. As blood is a connective tissue which flows through the blood vessels all over the body, the hormones are present everywhere in the body. Third, insulin plays an important role in controlling the sugar level of blood. Answer 1. The patients suffering from diabetes have high blood sugar levels due to improper secretion of insulin hormone. 2. Insulin lowers the level of sugar. 3. Hence, insulin plays an important role in controlling the sugar level of blood. Question 4. Answer the following questions. First, explain the following terms. A. Hydrotropic movement. The movement observed in the direction of water is called hydrotropic movement. It is seen in roots of the plants which tend to grow in the direction of water. B. Chemical control in animals. Chemical control in animals is brought about by chemical substance called hormones. These hormones are secreted by the endocrine glands, which are also known as ductless glands. The hormones are secreted directly into the bloodstream. They share the responsibility of control and coordination with the nervous system. Second, differentiate between voluntary and involuntary movements. 1. The movements which are controlled by the brain after thinking are called voluntary movements, while the movements which are not controlled by the brain after thinking are called involuntary movements. 2. The brain sends the message to the muscles and the muscles act accordingly in voluntary movements, whereas in involuntary movements, the muscles are not controlled by the brain. 3. In voluntary movements, the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system controls the movements, whereas in involuntary movements, the autonomic nervous system is responsible for the movement. 4. The forebrain is responsible for these movements in voluntary movements, whereas in involuntary movements, the hindbrain is responsible for these movements. 5. Examples of voluntary movements are running, jumping, etc. While examples of involuntary movements are digestion of food, sneezing, coughing, etc. Third, write a short note on A. Reflex action. 1. Any sudden action in response to some happening in the environment is called as reflex action. For example, withdrawing the hand after touching a hot object. 2. The response to such situations are quick and immediate. 3. The nerves that detect the pain are connected to the nerves in the muscles due to which the response becomes quick. 4. These nerves get connected in the spinal cord. Hence, reflex arcs are formed in the spinal cord, although message reaches the brain. 5. Reflex action occurs due to these reflex arcs. B. Co-ordination in plants. 1. There is no nervous system present in plants, yet we can see coordination in plants. 2. The plants use electrochemical means to transfer information from one cell to another. 3. Coordination brings about movement in plants. Movements in plants are of two types. 4. Growth-dependent movement and movement not dependent on growth. 5. Germination of seed is growth-dependent movement, whereas closing of mimosa leaf on touch is a movement not related to growth. 6. There are many hormones in plants which bring about growth. Gibberellins, cytokinesis, and auxins are growth-promoting hormones.